He was an action hero, a cultural icon, a martial arts legend on the cusp of superstardom. Bruce had made 3 films before Enter the Dragon. All 3 had broken box office records in Hong Kong.
You think you know Bruce Lee? Wait until you see what he actually did. He was fast, strong, and unstoppable. But some of Bruce Lee's feats were so unbelievable that no one believed they were real, until now. Follow along and see if you can figure out how he pulled off these impossible feats. The man behind the myth. Bruce Lee was more than just a martial artist or movie star. From a very young age, he showed an unusual combination of curiosity, determination, and energy. Growing up in Hong Kong, he trained in martial arts from an early age, learning different styles and techniques that shaped his approach to fighting. But he was also curious about philosophy, science, and the way the human body worked. This combination of intelligence and physical ability set him apart from others in his field. People noticed his dedication, and it became clear that Bruce was not going to follow the traditional path of most martial artists. He wanted to create something new. As Bruce grew older, he started to participate in tournaments and public demonstrations. These events allowed him to show his strength, his speed, precision, and understanding of technique. Audiences were often shocked by his abilities, and word of his talent spread quickly. He did not rely on exaggerated claims or showmanship. He demonstrated real skill. Each punch, kick, or movement he performed was deliberate and effective. The public and other martial artists began to recognize that Bruce Lee was someone who could not be easily categorized. What made Bruce Lee different was his constant experimentation and study. He combined elements from traditional martial arts while removing unnecessary movements. He observed the best fighters and studied how they moved, how they reacted, and how they generated power. By blending multiple styles, he developed Jeet Kune, a martial arts philosophy that emphasized efficiency, speed, and adaptability.
New martial art game Jeet Kune, influenced by the personal philosophy and experiences of legendary martial arts and movie star Bruce Lee.
This approach made him unpredictable in combat and capable of feats that most people could not even imagine. Bruce's influence extended beyond martial arts competitions. He trained actors, students, and even military personnel, teaching them how to improve their physical abilities while also emphasizing mental focus and strategy. His methods were rigorous, and he never allowed shortcuts in training. Every exercise had a purpose, whether it was building strength, speed, or coordination. People who trained with him often commented on his intensity and how he pushed them to achieve things they never thought possible. By the time Bruce reached Hollywood, he was already a well-known figure in martial arts circles. His reputation was built on real achievements and consistent hard work. He had proven that human potential could be expanded through discipline, focus, and innovation. Bruce Lee became a legend because he combined talent, intelligence, and the desire to constantly improve. The one-inch punch. The one-inch punch is one of Bruce Lee's most famous demonstrations and is still talked about today. Unlike traditional punches that require a full swing, the one-inch punch is delivered from a very short distance, sometimes just 1 or 2 inches away from the target. When Bruce performed this punch, the person on the receiving end could be knocked backward with minimal arm movement. This demonstration shocked audiences because it seemed impossible that such a small movement could produce so much force. The secret behind the punch lies in Bruce Lee's understanding of body mechanics. He used his legs, hips, core, shoulders, and arms together to generate explosive power. Even though the motion appeared minimal, every muscle was involved in the strike. This coordination allowed him to concentrate the force in a very small area, producing maximum impact. He trained repeatedly to perfect this technique, practicing thousands of times until the movement became instinctive. His body was a finely tuned instrument designed to deliver powerful strikes efficiently. People who witnessed the one-inch punch often described their disbelief. Martial artists, fighters, and spectators could not understand how someone could knock them backward without a full punch. Some assumed that he was using tricks or deception, but Bruce demonstrated the punch in controlled environments to prove its effectiveness. Over time, repeated demonstrations convinced audiences that this was not luck or magic, but the result of careful practice, understanding, and physical skill. Bruce Lee used the one-inch punch to demonstrate his strength and to train himself for combat.
So one-inch punch, Bruce did this in 1964 at the Long Beach International Karate Tournaments.
In real fights, efficiency matters more than long wind-ups. By mastering short, explosive movements, he could deliver strikes quickly without telegraphing his intentions. This approach reflected his broader philosophy of Jeet Kune, which emphasizes speed, efficiency, and practical effectiveness. The one-inch punch became a symbol of how technical mastery and body control could create powerful results. Today, the one-inch punch continues to inspire martial artists and enthusiasts worldwide. Videos, demonstrations, and training exercises show how Bruce Lee developed his power and precision. While some attempts may fail without proper training, his achievements remain a testament to what can be accomplished with discipline and understanding. The punch represents both his physical skill and his philosophy of maximizing efficiency in motion. 2-finger push-ups. Bruce Lee could perform push-ups using only 2 fingers on each hand, a feat that requires incredible strength, balance, and control. This demonstration amazed people because it showed that Bruce had developed extraordinary finger, hand, and wrist strength. It was not just about raw power, it was a combination of muscle control, technique, and conditioning over years of dedicated practice. To perform 2-finger push-ups, Bruce had to train progressively. He started with regular push-ups, then moved to 1-finger and 2-finger exercises, gradually increasing his strength and stability. He conditioned his hands and wrists to withstand the force without injury, paying close attention to body alignment and proper form. This training method allowed him to achieve a level of control that most people cannot imagine. Spectators who saw Bruce perform these push-ups were often stunned. They knew that even athletes who train rigorously in traditional ways would struggle to do the same. His ability to perform these exercises demonstrated not only strength, but also the mental discipline needed to maintain control over the body. He showed that training with focus and intention could produce results that seem almost superhuman. Bruce Lee also used these exercises to enhance his fighting ability. Strengthening the fingers, hands, and wrists improved his ability to grip opponents, strike effectively, and execute techniques that require precision. The 2-finger push-ups were both a demonstration of skill and a functional part of his overall training. Each repetition contributed to his power and agility, allowing him to perform other feats like breaking boards or delivering controlled strikes. The 2-finger push-ups became legendary because they were visible proof of Bruce Lee's dedication and physical conditioning. Unlike some exaggerated stories, this feat is well documented and observed by many who trained with him. It shows how incremental practice, careful conditioning, and focus can push the limits of human strength, creating abilities that seem impossible to the untrained eye. Invisibility. Bruce Lee's speed in combat often appeared invisible to his opponents. People described situations where he moved so fast that it was almost impossible to see his strikes before they landed. This speed was not supernatural. It was a result of careful training, timing, and an understanding of the human body. Bruce's movements were deliberate, efficient, and designed to maximize impact while minimizing wasted motion. He trained extensively to improve reaction time and anticipation. Bruce focused on reading his opponents, predicting their movements, and reacting faster than they could respond. This gave him the ability to strike before the other person realized what was happening. Observers often said his attacks seemed instantaneous, giving the impression that he had moved invisibly. Part of his philosophy, Jeet Kune, emphasized interception. Bruce would meet an attack with a faster response, stopping the opponent before they could complete their action. This principle contributed to the illusion of invisibility, because it allowed him to act at the most advantageous moment. Timing, accuracy and body control combined to make his strikes appear sudden and almost magical. Witnesses often commented that Bruce's speed was unlike anything they had seen. Even highly skilled martial artists admitted that following his movements with the eye was difficult. This skill gave him a clear advantage in combat and created a reputation that spread quickly. People knew that his speed and precision were real, even if it seemed unbelievable. Bruce Lee's invisibility is a reminder that extraordinary skill comes from preparation, training, and observation. He showed that with focus, discipline, and understanding, it is possible to move faster and more efficiently than most people imagine. The perception of invisibility was the result of mastery over timing, technique, and the human body. Hollywood warrior. Bruce Lee eventually brought his skills to Hollywood, where he became a movie star and changed the way martial arts were portrayed on screen. Unlike other actors who relied on choreography alone, Bruce combined real martial arts techniques with dramatic presentation. This authenticity made his fight scenes compelling, exciting, and influential in the film industry. His first notable role was in the television show The Green Hornet, where he played Kato. Viewers were impressed by the speed and power he displayed in fight sequences. Unlike typical stunt work, Bruce's movements were real techniques executed with precision. He trained himself and others to perform safely while maintaining the realism and intensity of martial arts. Bruce also emphasized bringing philosophy and intelligence into his roles. He wanted his characters to display strategy and awareness, despite his brute strength. He designed fight sequences that were both visually exciting and technically accurate. Audiences could see the effectiveness of his strikes, the fluidity of his movements, and the control he had over his body. Hollywood recognized his unique contribution, but Bruce often faced challenges because studios were hesitant to cast a martial artist of Asian descent as a leading man.
The Green Hornet lasted only one season, but Lee was a breakout star, and in the coming years would appear in a string of films showcasing his extraordinary talents.
Despite these obstacles, he created his own path, producing films that showcased his abilities and changed the action genre. His influence can still be seen in modern martial arts movies, where authenticity and skill are highly valued. His time in Hollywood also allowed Bruce to inspire a global audience. Through films and public appearances, people learned about the philosophy behind his techniques, the discipline required, and the dedication to mastery. Bruce Lee became not just a martial artist, but a symbol of skill, intelligence, and innovation in both fighting and entertainment. The Secret Room stories tell that Bruce Lee had a private space for training, often referred to as his secret room. In this room, he could practice without distractions, experiment with new techniques, and focus entirely on improving his body and mind. It was a place where he could test his abilities in complete privacy. Inside the secret room, Bruce would condition his hands, wrists, and arms by striking boards, sandbags, and other objects. He used the space to try new forms of movement and practice strikes that required extreme precision and control. This environment allowed him to push limits safely, away from the pressure of public demonstrations or students watching. Bruce believed that focused training in private was essential for mastery. He often spent hours alone, refining movements, correcting mistakes, and building strength. The secret room was not only a physical space, but also a mental space where he could concentrate fully on self-improvement. People who visited or trained with him described his dedication and intensity in that room. Every movement was deliberate, and he analyzed the effects of each strike. This level of self-awareness contributed to the development of techniques like the one-inch punch and other feats that seemed impossible to observers. Whether the exact location or details of the secret room are fully known, the story highlights Bruce Lee's commitment to training. It represents his belief that mastery requires both mental focus and physical effort, away from distractions and outside expectations. This philosophy helped him achieve skills that amazed and inspired people around the world. The slap that shattered a shoulder. There is a story that Bruce Lee once slapped someone so hard it shattered their shoulder. While the accuracy of this story is debated, it reflects the level of force and control he could generate. Some accounts may have exaggerated the effect, but they illustrate the power of Bruce's strikes. Bruce trained to generate force in his punches, slaps, and strikes through precise mechanics. Every movement used his body weight, hips, and core to increase impact. While a shoulder-breaking slap may not have happened exactly as told, it demonstrates the intensity and potential of his training. His strikes were fast, deliberate, and capable of causing real damage if executed at full power. Witnesses who worked with Bruce often described his hands and strikes as extremely powerful. Even simple exercises like slaps or controlled strikes could deliver more force than most people could handle. Stories like the shoulder incident helped build his reputation as a martial artist who could surprise anyone with his strength. The story also highlights the balance between technique and physical conditioning. Bruce's hands, wrists, and arms were conditioned to withstand impact, which allowed him to strike safely but effectively. His approach to training combined control, precision, and strength to maximize impact without unnecessary risk. Even if the story is partly legend, it reflects the perception people had of Bruce Lee. He was someone who could deliver extraordinary force with skill and precision. Stories of this type contributed to his legendary status.
His fight scenes were famous, his talents were many, and 50 years after his death, Bruce Lee's legacy continues to inspire people around the world.
And helped solidify the awe and respect people felt when witnessing his abilities. Breaking bricks. Bruce Lee often demonstrated his strength by breaking bricks with his hands or forearms.
One of the most impressive moments is Lee's demonstration of hand speed.
These demonstrations were not for show alone, they were part of his training to condition his body and test his precision. He would strike with full focus and control, aiming to break the object while maintaining his own safety. Each strike required timing, alignment, and strength, which he developed through years of consistent. Breaking bricks helped Bruce strengthen his hands, wrists, and forearms. It was all about controlling the impact so that he could hit hard without injuring himself. He conditioned the skin, tendons, and muscles over time to withstand repeated strikes. This methodical approach allowed him to perform feats that seemed impossible to casual observers. Spectators who saw Bruce break bricks were often amazed. It was the accuracy and speed. He could strike the center of a brick with minimal motion and maximum force, showing that controlled power was more effective than raw energy. Audiences left convinced that his abilities were the product of serious discipline rather than luck. Bruce used these exercises to prepare for other demonstrations, including board breaks and martial arts techniques. Conditioning the hands and forearms translated directly into combat skills, improving his ability to punch, strike, and block effectively. The brick-breaking demonstrations were a way to test his own limits and to inspire others to see what could be achieved through focused practice. The legend of Bruce Lee breaking bricks became symbolic of his dedication and mastery. While some may exaggerate the number of bricks or difficulty, the demonstrations themselves are well documented and observed by many students and martial artists. They remain proof of his exceptional strength, precision, and the results of years of disciplined training. Invisible warrior. Bruce Lee was often described as an invisible warrior in combat because of his speed and unpredictability. Opponents would struggle to follow his movements, and many found themselves reacting too late. This was not because of magic, but because Bruce mastered body mechanics, timing, and anticipation to a level few could match. He trained his reflexes to respond instantly to any movement. By anticipating an opponent's actions, Bruce could intercept attacks before they were fully delivered. This technique made it seem as though he appeared and struck without warning, creating an effect that some described as his ability to move fluidly and without hesitation was the result of extensive practice and careful observation. Bruce also focused on minimizing wasted movement. He would strike with efficiency, conserving energy while maximizing speed and force. This approach improved his combat effectiveness and also contributed to the perception that he moved faster than the eye could track.
In Bruce Lee kick, you don't shake your eyes, because when you shake your eyes, you cannot see Bruce Lee kick.
Observers often described a blur when he moved, making him appear almost untouchable in demonstrations. His invisibility was complemented by mental focus. Bruce emphasized awareness, concentration, and understanding of the opponent. By combining mental preparation with physical ability, he could move with purpose and precision. Each strike or movement was intentional, reducing the chance of errors and increasing the speed of his responses. Bruce Lee's style inspired many martial artists to explore how technique, anticipation, and focus could make movement more effective. His ability to appear invisible in action is a reminder that extraordinary skill comes from consistent practice, careful observation, and understanding the mechanics of the human body. Separating fact from fiction. Over time, many stories about Bruce Lee have been exaggerated or misunderstood. Some tales are well documented, while others have grown into legends. Separating fact from fiction is important for understanding the true achievements of Bruce Lee without diminishing his legacy. Eyewitness accounts confirm several of his feats, such as the one-inch punch, two-finger push-ups, and breaking bricks. These demonstrations are documented and observed by students, martial artists, and trainers. Other stories, such as breaking a shoulder with a slap, are more anecdotal and likely exaggerated. These accounts reflect perception as much as reality. Bruce himself was careful about how stories of his abilities were shared. He often emphasized that skill is more important than spectacle. He trained for real combat effectiveness, not for showmanship, although demonstrations naturally inspired awe. His focus was on functional martial arts, efficiency, and personal improvement rather than creating myths. The exaggerations and myths surrounding him highlight how extraordinary his abilities are. When someone pushes human limits in skill, speed, and strength, it is natural for stories to grow larger over time. Many students and observers contributed to the legends simply by describing what seemed impossible. Understanding Bruce Lee requires balancing documented facts with the myths that surround him. His legacy is not reduced by exaggeration. Instead, the combination of verified skill and legendary stories reinforces the idea that he was an exceptional human being whose dedication and innovation inspired millions worldwide. Even decades after his death, some people remain skeptical of Bruce Lee's feats. The combination of speed, power, and precision he displayed is hard for many to comprehend. What makes him remarkable is not only his physical skill, but also how disciplined he was in his training and study. Skeptics often question videos or witness accounts, wondering if camera, tricks, or exaggeration played a role. Some stories are retold repeatedly, causing details to change. Yet those who trained with Bruce and saw him in action consistently reported that what they witnessed was real. Bruce Lee's control, speed, and precision were undeniable. His abilities challenged the conventional understanding of what humans could achieve physically. Observers often admitted that even highly trained athletes would struggle to replicate his feats. This disbelief highlights the extraordinary level of skill and dedication Bruce developed throughout his life. The skepticism surrounding his feats also adds to his mystique. People naturally question things that seem beyond normal human ability. Bruce Lee's reputation as a near-mythical figure is partly due to this tension between reality and perception. Even with doubts, Bruce Lee remains one of the most influential martial artists in history. His speed, strength, and skill are still celebrated, and the stories about his abilities continue to inspire people to push beyond their limits. Whether people believe all of the stories or not, his life demonstrates what is possible with focus, dedication, and intelligent practice. Bruce Lee's life teaches lessons about dedication, innovation, and pushing human limits. His feats, from the one-inch punch to breaking bricks, are the result of consistent practice, careful study, and a deep understanding of the body. He was always seeking ways to improve and refine his skills. Discipline was central to his approach. Bruce trained his body and mind every day, often for hours, combining physical exercises with mental focus. This allowed him to perform feats that many would consider impossible. His training methods continue to influence martial artists, athletes, and trainers around the world. Bruce's philosophy of efficiency, adaptability, and precision extended beyond martial arts. He emphasized that mastery comes from observation, understanding, and eliminating unnecessary effort. By studying the best techniques and integrating them into his practice, he developed abilities that were unique and highly effective. Even stories that are partly legendary, like slapping a shoulder or moving invisibly, reflect the level of respect and awe he commanded. These tales highlight how his abilities challenged people's understanding of what the human body could do. They encourage curiosity and inspire people to explore their own limits. Ultimately, Bruce Lee's legacy is a combination of verified accomplishments, careful study, and the myths that grew around him. His life reminds us that dedication, intelligence, and consistent practice can push human ability to extraordinary levels. His story continues to inspire people to strive for excellence in every area of life. Bruce Lee's stories show what can happen when skill, focus, and dedication meet extraordinary effort. Some feats, maybe legend, some fact, but all inspire us. What do you think? How much of Bruce Lee's legend is real and how much is myth? Comment below.